I am Jacob Paul. In this video we will discuss how Ukraine war is affecting Russian economy. Russia's economy is the 11th largest in the world by nominal GDP and the 6th largest by purchasing power parity. It is a mixed market economy with a large state sector. The country has enormous natural resources, particularly oil and natural gas, which account for about 40% share of its exports. The Russian economy has been growing steadily in recent years, but it has been hit hard by the sanctions imposed by the West in response to the country's invasion of Ukraine. The sanctions have caused the value of the Russian ruble to plummet and led to inflation. The sanctions have also made it difficult for Russian businesses to import goods and services, which has further damaged the economy. As a result, Russia is now in a recession, and its GDP is expected to shrink by 10% in current year. The war in Ukraine has had a devastating impact on the Russian economy. Sanctions imposed by the United States, the European Union, and other countries have crippled the Russian financial system. The war has also had a significant impact on the Russian people. Inflation has made it more expensive to buy food, medicine, and other essential goods. Many businesses have closed, and unemployment has risen. The war in Ukraine is a major crisis with far-reaching implications. The economic impact of the war is only one of its many devastating consequences. First of all, let's talk about sanctions. The United States, the European Union, and other countries have imposed a wide range of sanctions on Russia in response to its invasion of Ukraine. The sanctions imposed on Russia are the most severe in history. The sanctions imposed on Russia are like a financial nuclear weapon. They have targeted Russia's financial system, its energy sector, and its military. The sanctions have made it difficult for Russian businesses to operate. They have also made it difficult for Russians to get their hands on foreign currency, which they need to buy imports, and they have also led to a decline in foreign investment. The sanctions have targeted Russia's economy at its core, and they are having a devastating impact. Now we will discuss some specific examples of how the sanctions are impacting the Russian economy. The value of the ruble has lost about half of its value since the start of the war. This makes it more expensive for Russians to import goods and services, and it has also led to inflation. Inflation in Russia has reached its highest level in decades. This is due to a number of factors, including the devaluation of the ruble, the rise in energy prices, and the disruption of supply chains. Foreign investment in Russia has fallen sharply since the start of the war. This is due to concerns about the stability of the Russian economy and the risk of doing business in Russia. Russia has been banned from exporting a number of goods and services to Western countries. This has hurt Russian businesses and led to job losses. The sanctions are having a devastating impact on the Russian economy. They are causing inflation, job losses, and economic hardship for ordinary Russians. The sanctions are also making it difficult for the Russian government to finance its war effort. Second impact of Ukraine war is currency devaluation. The ruble has lost about half of its value since the start of the war. This is because the sanctions have made it difficult for Russia to import goods and services, which has led to a shortage of foreign currency. The devaluation of the ruble has made it more expensive for Russians to import goods and services. Inflation is another impact. Inflation in Russia has reached its highest level in decades. This is due to a number of factors, including the devaluation of the ruble, the rise in energy prices, and the disruption of supply chains. Inflation is making it more expensive for Russians to buy food, medicine, and other essential goods. Decline in foreign investment. Foreign investment in Russia has fallen sharply since the start of the war. This is due to concerns about the stability of the Russian economy and the risk of doing business in Russia. The decline in foreign investment is a major blow to the Russian economy, as it will make it more difficult for Russia to finance its economic development. Loss of access to Western markets. Russia has been banned from exporting a number of goods and services to Western countries. This has hurt Russian businesses and led to job losses. The loss of access to Western markets is a major setback for the Russian economy, as it will make it more difficult for Russia to sell its goods and services. The war in Ukraine is having a devastating impact on the Russian economy. The sanctions, currency devaluation, inflation, decline in foreign investment, and loss of access to Western markets are all taking a toll on the Russian economy. The war is also causing economic hardship for ordinary Russians. The full impact of the war on the Russian economy is still unfolding, but it is clear that it will be a major challenge for the Russian government. One important point is that the war in Ukraine is also having a significant impact on Russia's finances. The Russian government is spending billions of dollars each month on its war effort, and this is taking a toll on the country's budget. In addition to the direct costs of the war, Russia is also facing indirect costs, such as the loss of tourism revenue and the disruption of trade. Russia is facing heavy expenses of war, including the cost of military operations. The Russian government is spending billions of dollars each month on its war effort. This includes the cost of ammunition, fuel, food, and salaries for soldiers. The war expenses are putting a strain on Russia's finances. The country's budget deficit is expected to widen significantly in the coming years, and the government may need to borrow money to finance the war effort. The war in Ukraine is having a significant impact on the global economy as well. Rising energy prices have led to inflation in many countries, and there are concerns about a slowdown in economic growth. The war is also disrupting supply chains, which is making it more difficult for businesses to get the goods and services they need.